stellar move. Yeah, I finally got my mind right again. Yeah, now I know there's no time for pretend. Yeah, I come alive in the moonlight. See me shooting across the skies. Don't you know stars were born to fly? Yeah, I've been searching, crawling, looking for a way out. I've been hurting, falling, but I think I found my way now. I'm on my own, far from home, lost in space, in my zone. I found these truths, far from you, in my space, in a stellar mood. Yeah, I finally got my mind right again. Did it all in spite of the hate. Every time they said that I can't. Nebulous, they run through my veins. Every molecule in the strands. Senses feeling some kind of strange. Damn, I think my name's Spider-Man. Jump out the window and swing for the dreams that just might be. Never gonna let go. No, to the man in the mirror look like me. Drifting through the cosmos, whoa, far away from your lies. I realign all my goals. That's a constellation of mine. Yeah, I've been searching, crawling, looking for a way out. I've been hurting, falling, but I think I found my way now. I'm on my own, far from home, lost in space, in my zone. I found these truths, far from you, in my space, in a stellar mood.
Kris the Critic Relationship Hour with Gina B. Why you are not married. Number one, you ain't all that. I know that's hard for y'all to swallow. I don't look as good as my 22-year-old self. People need to realize that. You just ain't all that. And I get it. I got this master's degree. I went to this school, that school. I worked hard for this job, for this house. And then she over there got that man, and you don't have one. Men are very simple creatures. So, ladies, for you very accomplished ladies, I got some advice for them.
What's that?
I always say it like this. You can write this one down. Be a kitten, not a cat. What does that mean, Kris?
What does that mean?
You ever played with a kitten? It's real friendly. It almost acts like a puppy. And you want to play with it. You want to come look at the little kitty. It just makes you feel good. Now, have you ever seen an adult cat? When it feels like it, it might rub against your leg and move away. But is that men like kittens?
Kittens will play with anybody. A cat is particular.
Listen, what did we learn? Men are very simple creatures.
Right.
You can fool us. We want you to laugh at our dumb jokes. So all you super smart women out there, you good looking women, you see a guy you like, you guys do make it out on a date. He actually pays for the date. When you're actually with that person, the dialogue is happening, the dinner is happening. You say, okay, this might work, this might work. It would help if you act a little blind.
Oh my God, Becky.
I mean, you're going to hear me say that a lot. I mean, be nice to him. You hear the worst joke ever. But if you sort of like them, laugh at it. There you go. Hey, it's a lot of married women out there. If we got any married women chiming in.
Look,
if I'm telling a lie.
That one's a fake laugh.
Let me know. Right.
What you're saying is that we should cater to the male ego, and that's what's ultimately going to get us married.
I'm first saying recognize that I think some of us, more women than men, look in the mirror. You ever seen a little lion look in the mirror and see somebody real big? They see somebody a little more fine than what they are. And I'm not calling anybody ugly, so I'm not here to bash anybody.
Let's look at Middle America, okay? Middle America is not attractive.
They're not?
Middle America is largely married.
Okay, I think we're on the same page then. People sort of, we get stuck to reality shows sometime and think we're supposed to have, I got a degree in a house, so I'm supposed to have Idris Elba or his twin.
Well, I mean, have you noticed, okay, so you remember your friends from high school, right? And you remember how they had all of these qualifications for, if she's going to lock me down, she got to be this, that. She's got to have an ass like bam.
That's all we really looked at. Stop right there. You had me at. That's really, What are men? Simple creatures. We want to be fed. We want you to laugh at us, give us some, and that's it. Together.
Oh, baby. I mean, I know that you're here with me and everything, but since you just left a few hours ago, I've just been going crazy. And I done come to realize one thing. Oh, baby, I miss you. Yeah. Oh, baby, oh, darling. Whoa, 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 whoa. Your love must be some kind of drug, baby, 'cause it just keeps on calling me, and I just need a hit of your love. It's got me shaking and feeling for your touch. Baby, of you I can't get enough. It feels like I done OD'd on you, babe. I'm addicted for you. Can't stop loving 'cause I can't get enough of you, babe. 'Cause I'm so addicted to you. This must be love. 'Cause I can't get enough of your loving. I'm so addicted. Can't stop loving.
What's happening, people? What's going on? I'm Kris, the critic of the Kris and Gina Relationship Show. This beautiful, smart, intelligent, accomplished world traveler, business owner, restaurateur. To my right, your left, the one, the only, the incomparable Gina B in the building.
How you guys doing on this Tuesday?
This is a great Tuesday. It was nice out today.
It's beautiful.
I actually
yesterday,
got jumped on the grill yesterday.
You did what now?
I jumped on the grill.
Oh, I saw that photo. I was so jealous.
I told no one. No one. Actually, made that my mother was around, so I wanted to make something for Bobby Jean. Shout out to you. It is National Zipper Day.
National. Oh, I have one on.
And it's some other crazy day. Let's see what
I'm trying
is.
to. I love the days.
Gina B loves it. It's nothing exciting though. I will tell you that.
Producer, is this better?
It's National Shrimp Scampi Day, but that's a great appetizer.
Oh, shrimp scampi.
Look, I don't even want to waste time today. Now, normally I'm going to talk down because you won't hear that much of me during the show. I'll comment. No, seriously. We're going to bring in. Give me 2 seconds. We'll bring in our guest. I just want to talk about the show, and I want to talk about him. This show is narcissism and relationships. I just had to get instructions from inside.
Yeah, we're getting all kinds of positions.
We got a whole new crew here today.
We have a new crew.
DJ's brought in 7 assistants.
Yeah.
It's state of the art.
It's DJ and the 7 dwarves.
Listen, this show is entitled Narcissism and Relationships. This is an oft used word, most times used wrongly.
Yep.
We are all going to learn a little bit something about it today.
Yeah.
We're going to learn about maybe we have some narcissistic tendencies. I know Chris Levy does. Hey, don't judge me.
Don't we all have some, though?
I do think it's on the spectrum. We can ask our expert. This is something, the reason I said I'm not going to talk, it can be a difficult talk because some people are in a relationship or some people have been in relationships. And, depending on how long you're in, the damage done, it's technically emotional abuse, I think. So, and you can have relationships with coworkers and loved ones and family members.
You sure can. You can have all kinds.
And if, we'll go over some of the signs for it. I do have a short video, but first, I want to bring in the expert. He's been on the show before. He's one of our, what do you call a person who's like part of the show, but random, like trap?
Yeah, he's one of our
occasional
he's one of our occasional guests. Yeah.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
The one, the only. I call him. He's licensed in everything. He's going to give you his accreditation.
Everything.
Can we bring in Khalid Scott, please?
Hey, Khalid.
Super producer DJ, you'll be happy to know this is one of your black and gold brothers. I want to see him. Is he on?
He's doing, yeah.
Okay. How you doing, brother?
I am doing well, and family, thank you for inviting me to your home again.
1 second. Does he need to turn his, can you?
Turn your phone around.
The orientation?
So that yeah. Turn it landscape as opposed to portrait.
There is a 35, 40-second delay here, so you'll pop up to us in a second. But he says it's fine now, and I see you.
But yeah, it'd be. Okay.
Hey, man, thank you for joining the show once again.
There we go.
I know we know you. Gina B is going to pepper you with a bunch of questions.
I am.
She already knows, and you already know I'm not to talk that much. I'll chime in here and there.
Constantly. Stop it.
But I want him to give everybody his accreditations, because from now on, for the balance of this show, I'm just calling him Dr. Scott. He's not a medical doctor, but please, can you, Brother Khalid? No, you were right. There you go. You're perfect
he did
now.
This is
40
you're
seconds
awesome. Ago. Yeah, we're in a delay there.
Go ahead, brother.
Okay.
All right. So again, thank you for having me on the show to talk about this very important topic and a diagnosis that comes up in a lot of conversations, especially about relationships. You know, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to educate your audience, you know, and probably us too, about, you know, this type of personality disorder that can negatively affect people, and especially when you are in relationships with people who have been diagnosed with this disorder, right? My name is Khalid Scott. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I am a certified alcohol and drug counselor. I am a child welfare licensed employee. I'm also accredited for work in hospitals, you know, and I'm an LPHA licensed practitioner of healing arts and a couple of more other credentials.
So you're an underachiever, is
right.
what you're telling
me.
He
can take us all the way from my childhood trauma.
You
can take us from our trauma to our addictions.
To our addictions through the end.
To our end.
Exactly, through the end.
Absolutely.
Okay, so do we want to start? You said you had a video.
I did.
Then
and
I have an exercise.
Yeah, I want to start a video, Dr. Scott. It is, this is not from Khalid, folks. This is from me. I saw it. I thought, from my vision, I want him to be able to weigh in and sort of set the tone if we're heading in the right direction.
Right.
So, Gina B, we're going to play the video. Everyone there is going to pay attention. And as soon as we get back,
I have an exercise.
But he can weigh in.
He can weigh in
on the video, and then you and he start going on. And every 5 or 7 minutes, if I look like I got something interesting to add,
we will flag
you. All
right,
in. So let's at least watch. We don't have the video. We don't have the video.
Okay,
right,
well
so
then let's start the exercise. Okay, so yeah, we're a little challenged today. So all right, I have a list, Mr. Scott, of things that are either factually or kind of mistakenly confused for narcissism in relationships. And when I name these things, I want you to either thumbs up or thumbs down them as to whether they're accurate. And then once we have our list of things that are thumbs up or thumbs down, then we can talk about kind of the differences. Chris, you're already starting?
I just wanted him to give me and us, you guys can do that. I just want him to define narcissism as a professional kind of define.
Okay, yeah, let's define that. And then we'll go through the traits or the ones that are maybe, anyway, go ahead.
Okay, great. Okay, so what I want to point out again, that a lot of people diagnose people from an armchair perspective, right? So you're dating someone and they tend to be very grandiose. They tend to be all about themselves, right? So the first thing we do, and especially when we're not getting along with that person, we start saying, you know what, that person is narcissistic, right? And, you know, why wouldn't you? Because again, they have these traits about them that looks like somebody with narcissism.
Okay, so tell us, right? I'm going to stop you real quick. Tell us what it is, and then we can go into what it isn't.
Absolutely. So narcissistic personality disorder is a mental health condition, right? That affects a person's sense of self-esteem, their identity, and how they treat themselves and others. and that it's more so based on an arrogance or a selfishness. And in worst scenarios, people with narcissistic personality disorder may struggle with feelings of failure or rejection, putting their own health and well-being at risk.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay.
So it's not a good thing to be diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder.
It is
Even
not.
though it appears that, hey, I'm all this, I'm all that. Absolutely. It's a false sense of who you are.
Okay. Okay. So, given that there are so many people that with the armchair diagnoses that you're discussing, there are some traits that are sort of aligned with narcissism, and some of them are correct and some of them maybe aren't. So let me just go through, and once again, thumbs up, thumbs down, and then we'll get into all the commentary later. I'm just going to get through this list.
We have a delay, you know that, so maybe he can speak it for us. Say yes or no.
Oh.
Right.
Well, that's okay. Okay. Well, yeah. Okay. Speak yes or no. Just we'll give you, but that's all. Just yes or no, and then we'll come back. Okay. So the first trait on the list: love bombing.
Yes.
Okay. Gaslighting.
Yes.
Lack of empathy.
Yes.
Constant need for admiration.
Yes.
Jealousy or possessiveness.
Yes.
Blaming others for problems.
Absolutely yes.
Okay. Manipulation.
Yes.
Giving the silent treatment.
Correct. Yes.
Grandiose self-image.
Absolutely yes.
Okay. Sudden devaluation or discard phase.
Yes.
Okay. I don't have any notes here. Boundary pushing.
Yes.
Cheating or emotional affairs.
Absolutely yes.
Okay. Triangulation, which means involving third parties to manipulate.
Yes.
Playing the victim.
Always.
We're like batting 100, we're batting 1,000 here. Okay. Refusing accountability.
Yes.
Okay. Constant criticism.
Towards others, yes.
Of others. Okay. Emotional withdrawal.
At times, but yes.
At times? Okay.
Yes.
Obsession with appearance or status.
Top 3, yes.
Okay. Exploitative behavior.
At times, yes.
But not all the time.
But not all the time.
Okay. Rage when challenged.
Absolutely. Very vengeful. Yes.
Okay. Very vengeful. Controlling finances or decision making.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. Saying you're too sensitive.
Yes.
Okay. Wait, hang on a second. I've got to scroll because I have quite a few of these. Acting charming in public, but cruel in private.
Absolutely. Top 3.
Okay. Claiming to be misunderstood or special.
Yes.
Using therapy speak to avoid responsibility.
Yes.
Okay. So, is the myth of narcissism that they're completely incapable of love?
They are totally capable of love, but it's the love that they are receiving.
Okay, not the love they're giving. Okay, so,
Correct.
and is it true that you'll spot them by their bravado and maybe self-obsession?
Absolutely, but you have to pay attention to the nuances.
Okay.
Can I comment? For him,
Go ahead.
I just want to say, I looked up a lot of this stuff. He is not only on the money, even the words where he said sometimes, because sometimes, the same person withdrawing attention, I've read, they'll love bomb you. I just want to say, folks, anyone watching this later, so far, we have the right person, and I'm so glad you're on this show. But Gina B, I didn't know if you knew that. His sometime is, when he said nuances, is key, because a lot of times, correct me if these people have they know what they're supposed to do and they can mimic it. But anyway.
Okay.
This is awesome.
Okay.
Go ahead. I'm just enjoying this right now.
All right. Is it true that they've all had traumatic childhoods?
For the most part, yes, because something brings on the behavior.
Okay. Infidelity, guaranteed.
Absolutely.
Really? Okay. Is it true that you can heal them with enough love?
No.
Okay. Are they always confident?
No.
Okay. Are they evil?
Can be.
Okay. Is it mostly a male issue?
Yes.
It
50
is.
to 75% of men who are diagnosed because of the symptoms are narcissistic. 25% of women can be diagnosed with narcissism.
Okay. Is it true that they're cold and robotic?
They can be, yes.
But they can feel emotions.
Oh,
Absolutely,
they
they
pour
can.
love on you.
Okay, because they love bomb, right? And
Yes.
so the way that you, and then I'll stop peppering you with all so we can kind of break this down. The way that you can sort of detect it, is it that they will come across with high self-esteem?
Absolutely. They will always have a package that's pretty with ribbons and bows on it. But when you take that top of that box off, you'll see the dirt and the dinginess.
Okay. And are they always successful or driven?
They're driven, not always successful, but their failure drives them to work harder.
Okay. Do they like criticism?
Not at all.
Well, no one does, right? But
Right, but when you criticize them, because in their mindset, I'm doing the absolute best. How dare you? What an insult! Now I'm going to take revenge on you. I have to show you that you are less than me.
okay. And are they emotionally distant?
Yes, they can be.
So, okay, some things. Okay, are they in love with themselves?
It looks like they love themselves, but what they're doing is trying to protect and overcompensate. But it looks like love.
And are they easy to spot?
Yes, they are, if you pay attention to the nuances.
Okay, but if they're charming,
If the charm brings you in.
okay.
The charm is what's beguiling about them to make you want to be around them. But
So
when you're around them and you start seeing when they start feeling comfortable to take the mask off, then you see all the scars and the blemishes.
So do you think that everybody who is selfish is a narcissist?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Okay. And are they mean on purpose?
No, that's part of their defense mechanism.
Okay. And so would you see them as always being, I only have two more of these. Are you seeing them as always being the life of the party?
No.
You're not the expert.
If that's their agenda.
Okay. If
Because
that's
they
their
like
agenda.
to be seen. They like to be seen. They like to be the center of attention.
And so do you think they know what they're doing?
That's a great question.
On the onset, when they first start developing the disorder, no. But then as they get used to it and they like the feelings and the gratifications, then they're absolutely purposeful about it.
Okay, so we have some questions.
Well, can I ask a question first?
Okay, sure.
On your questions.
Yeah.
I thought you were on the money. Dr. Scott, Gina didn't ask it directly. We talked about the ego. I've read, and I'm just trying to get confirmation, that as he mentioned, they're trying to cover up. I think he mentioned take the lid off. Does that mean they really have low self-esteem possibly from something that happened?
Okay. So what happens is when I'm a narcissist, one of the things that I desire is what? Attention. Right? So if you give me the attention, you're feeding what I desire.
Got it.
So what happens is, like, you see a lot of children who are only children become narcissists, right? Because think about it, when you're an only child, everyone pays attention to you. You don't have to share, right?
I'm an only child.
So you'll see a lot of firstborns with narcissistic personality disorder because they were the first. They were the trial and error child.
Got it.
Right?
Right.
Or vice versa, you'll see the baby child. They're the last one. So all the attention went on them. How dare you not give me that attention? I don't give a damn about the middle child. I don't care about the eldest. I want that attention because you poured it on me. It's been fed, and I like how it tastes.
So this follow up, and then let's see if we have some.
Yeah, we have a couple.
Oh,
we
cool.
have like one.
So this is a relationship show. So I did some. Yeah, obviously before a show we do a little bit of we look up a topic. In a relationship, I want to sort of start letting listeners know what that looks like. What I've seen, and he named them, is one of the top 3. The empathy piece, but I also read they don't apologize. Maybe that's the empathy, and they don't apologize. It's the empathy, and do they cry a lot? Those are my questions.
Okay.
Because I read that, but the cry a lot I only saw on one site.
Right. So they cry in the dark. They cry in the dark, but you would never see it on the outside because I have an image to protect.
Makes sense.
Okay. So now.
What about the apology?
The apology. Go ahead.
The apology, because I don't see the wrong I've done, or if I did do something wrong, I will justify it, or I will make myself the victim. So I don't have to justify it, and I don't have to apologize.
Okay.
I got it. Okay.
That's fair.
I'm sorry. That's all I had.
Okay. Now, how do you distinguish? Now, there are people who exhibit narcissistic traits, and then there's full-blown narcissistic disorder.
Yes.
So what's the difference?
That's a question.
Okay. So many of you all may have know about this book called the DSM-5.
Yep.
Right? This is the clinician's Bible. This is a social worker's Bible. And the reason why I call it the Bible, because you will not have a diagnosis unless you meet a certain criteria in this book, right? So for someone to be seen as have narcissistic personality disorder, they have to fit 5 of the 9 symptoms.
Okay. Tell me what those are, please.
Okay. So some of the symptoms are, one second.
Look at it, he's got it handy. I like
going home like, honey, will you read this book?
It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. So with some of the symptoms, the grandiose is number 1.
Okay.
The grandiose is number 1.
Okay.
And of course my computer wants to run slow now because I'm trying to do something. 1 second. Hold on.
Take your time. Take your time.
In the meantime, while you're looking up those traits, do you think it's possible for someone with this disorder to have a healthy relationship?
A healthy relationship for a person with narcissistic personality disorder is the person has to be okay being in the dark. The person has to be okay being in the back.
So that's like a no.
So let me give you an example. So imagine if Angela Bassett was narcissistic, right? She has to be in the forefront. So Courtney B. Vance would have to be okay being in the background.
Right.
And never being apologized to and being lied to and cheated on.
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
So that she's lying and cheating.
Well, he said it.
Right.
I mean, no, but I mean, we're because I love Angela Bassett. We're up.
Well, yeah, this is not no indictment against Angela Bassett.
Okay.
No. Right. So what it's saying is the person who's in a relationship with them has to be okay with not being in the limelight.
Okay.
You have to be okay. So, and then going back, it just came up. So the grandiose sense of self-importance. Number 2, frequent fantasies about having or deserving success, power, intelligence, beauty, love, and self-fulfillment. Number 3, belief in superiority. I am never number 2. I'm always number 1. No matter what, man. That is non-negotiable.
That's a male trait. I mean, you see men, especially powerful men. I can see that.
Right. Number 4, need for admiration. I need you to adore me. Okay. I need you to see me as a demigod. I need everything. And as I'm describing these, I want y'all to think about some people in the public eye who fit these categories, and you all know who I'm talking about.
Oh, we all know who you're talking about.
I need all green M&Ms.
Right. Well, yeah, we have bigger people in the public eye that actually.
Correct.
Come on now. Come on.
correct.
He's the quintessential.
Stay with us, Chris.
But he's so crazy though too.
But that's a whole different thing. Okay, go ahead.
Right. So number 5 is entitlement.
Okay.
The inflated sense of self-worth, right? Anger when people don't cater or appease me, right? Number 6, willingness to exploit others. Remember, it's all about me. You are minimum. You are number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You're insignificant.
Okay.
Number 7, lack of empathy.
Okay, lack of
Gina,
empathy. We named a lot of these.
Right. So Gina, if I'm married to you and like a month or so ago when you lost your dad, right?
Uh-huh. Yep.
Narcissistic is, say he's having trouble at work. He will turn talking to you about the loss of your dad to, baby, I had a bad day at work.
Mm-hmm.
Your father is gone. Baby, I'm still here. Focusing on what my problem is.
Is that a defense mechanism or trying to be mean? Like, I don't want to feel sad.
Empathy would means I would have to have feelings, and it has to be not about me.
But you.
But it's about you, and they can't focus on you because it's all about them.
And it might make them,
Yeah. Now let me turn this a little bit because there's a lot of people who they find themselves in relationships with narcissists. And so first of all, how many narcissists do you imagine? Like, what percentage of people do you think are actually narcissistic roaming around in the single world?
I think we all got traits of something.
Right, but full blown.
Right. So
with five of the things are what you say.
Yeah, with 5 of the 9. Like, what do we think?
You don't look that.
Right. So what happens is in studies they say it's only 5 to 25% of the population.
Okay, but what that means to me is that you have a 5 to 25% chance of hitting a narcissist when you're dating, right?
Absolutely.
So
Correct.
I mean that might not be the right. So why do certain people attract narcissists? Like, what do you have in your being that makes you a target for narcissists?
Well, what happens is it's just like somebody who's a playboy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have to focus in on your deficits, because if I focus in on your deficits, I'm going to tell you that I'm going to be your hero. I'm going to be your savior. Right. You don't have to worry about your deficits no more, because why? I'm the one that's going to take care of it. And in return, you're going to give me the crown. You're going to do everything I asked of you. You will not talk down to me. You know what I'm saying? You will not question anything, because why? I'm your savior.
Right.
But I purposely picked you because I needed you not to have confidence.
So for people who they meet people, and women, we are the original rehabbers, right? We're gonna fix that man. So you meet a man who needs help, right? And maybe you help him. And then maybe you discover that once you've been helping him, that you may be in the clutches of a narcissist.
What makes him that, though?
Yeah, this is my question.
Well, I'm saying I've heard a lot of women use that correctly and some wrong. In your definition of you're helping the guy.
Right.
Okay, that's one thing, but what makes him the narcissist?
This is what I'm saying. This is you have deepened the question.
Good.
So that's what I'm asking. I'm asking, like, when does that turn? Like, when do you know? Right, that he's not
he's
just a person who's
ass.
in need of assistance, or just a selfish asshole who wants you to cater to him indefinitely.
That's a lot of baby.
Right. So let me answer this the best way I can. A narcissist will show his true self on the first date.
And how? What are the things that women are looking out for, people are looking out for?
So in the conversation, it's very focused in on me, right?
Yep.
You find that if you talk to this person for an hour, 57 minutes were spent on them talking about what's going on with them.
That's hilarious. Okay.
Or if you bring up something about you, somehow it gets turned to about them.
If it's positive.
Or in general.
Like if you're talking about your promotion at the job, and then I just said, oh yeah, my promotion went like this and blah, blah, blah. I took it over.
Yeah.
maybe.
Correct.
Well,
Right.
yeah, that's they flipped it. It can never be. You can never be the
But
focus.
on the flip side, if I said, Gina, you ate my sandwich, and you said, maybe you flipped it, maybe you said, well, Kris, 2 years ago you drank my juice, and you just avoided it.
Right, so we're even.
Well, you made it back. Now you're a victim.
But
of that
right. So is that a thing? Is that the example Kris just gave?
gaslighting?
That's
deflection.
That's deflection.
Absolutely, because remember, the fundamental part about a narcissist is, remember, it's always about me. It's always, no matter what. You have deficits. I don't. My deficits are what made me great. So I didn't have bad deficits. They were just learning lessons.
So now, what's the difference between someone who is a narcissist and someone who has avoidant attachment disorder?
You did some studying.
Okay. So somebody who has avoidant attachment, what that means is just in the phrase, I avoid circumstances. I avoid situations, right? And again, I'm avoiding because now my defenses are up, right?
Okay.
And I'm trying to take care of me. So it's like a self-medication.
Okay.
With a narcissist, right? It's that, no, I just need you to know how grandiose I am, how great I am, right? So one is almost like a protection, right? The other one is, I'm all that. I'm absolutely all that. I'm overestimating my importance.
Okay, so when people come, now, do narcissists come to you for help? Do they know they need it?
No.
Okay.
No.
So you don't see a lot of
absolutely
narcissists.
No. But you find out because they're dealing with something else. So for instance, say you and your spouse decide to do marital therapy because there's infidelity.
Okay.
That's what brought you in, right? Because the wife said, you know what, if we don't do the therapy, I want a divorce. Wait a minute, you can't divorce me because we are Heathcliff Huxtable and Claire Huxtable. We will lose that perfect image.
Right.
So, okay, I'll do this damn therapy, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to manipulate a Dr. Scott because he's going to see how wonderful I am as a husband, and he's going to let you know how wonderful I am as a husband, so shut the hell up.
Right. So we have a question. Can we just throw it in?
Go ahead.
So chicken. Would a person with avoidant attachment disorder be a good match for a narcissist?
No.
I don't think any of those people are a good match for you.
So are these people just doomed to not have a good love life, or what? How do these people, like? Are they just gonna go through life making others miserable, or like what happens?
Correct. And see, what happens is the person who breaks up with the narcissist, they just end up spending years with that person, and then they just they feel.
And they just waste their time.
They're going to hit a breaking point, and then they're going to leave.
See, that's such a waste of time. Like, so they've wasted all this time with someone who's never going to give them a fair relationship.
It doesn't mean that the person is bad or good.
Doesn't it?
That's like a person who stays with an alcoholic. You know, sometimes they get fixed.
Pass a glass.
I got a question before we go to real quick. I don't want to lose my thought. So, what time we got?
We got some time.
So, Dr. Scott, this all started. I knew, because I know men, because we can be like that men take up the world's glutton of narcissists, the percentages. Okay. But ladies, don't think you got something to throw at us. This all came about. I read an article about a growing concern for narcissism in sisters in our community. Because we do this show, we see a lot of, what we call gender wars, I guess.
We do a lot of gender wars.
And between Gina B and I can tell you, sometimes women have the best points, sometimes men do, and both of them at times are full of crap. So I'm just going to let you know.
This is a people issue.
Right.
Not a gender issue.
So,
people.
But in terms of this issue, you being in this profession, because I've heard that when people go see narcissists, some people don't treat them because they'll never acknowledge it. But I did read that 10% of people like he says, come from within. But I read 10% of people can understand and get themselves out of this, probably like an alcoholic. But I want to know specifically in our community, what are you saying? And our sisters now, because the men already sort of narcissistic, and we got women, that's going to be bad. So I just want to know what's happening in your eyes. He's actually read the article. I sent it to him just to sense check.
And he knows the topic, so.
Right. So the thing is, I'm assuming the question is, do women recognize when they are narcissists?
No. Is it creeping into our community? Because like the article I sent was actually a rise in narcissism.
It's about black women and narcissism.
But we spend a lot of time.
Right, we talk about it. But yeah,
but men need to know what to look for too. Yeah. That's all I'm saying.
Correct.
I don't know if it's the same.
Well, no.
Okay, so let me explain it like this. It's like men have developed a blueprint, right? And women who are successful, so like I just use Angela Bassett, right? She's successful, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Her husband is successful as well. But who stands out? Who shines more, right? Angela.
Yep.
Right? And Courtney, he appears to be a wonderful support system. But so that's why I said that Courtney has to be okay being in the back, right?
But would he notice? I'm sorry, go ahead.
And so what happens is, because I'm assuming in his head, the check still comes to the same house.
Right.
The check comes to the same house. I'm okay. I have 4 Emmys. I'm good. I'm a great actor. But I know my wife is the focus point. But I'm okay with it because we being taken care of, right? That's the best way to deal with somebody if you're going to be in that type of relationship with somebody who's a narcissist. You have to let something go in order to deal with them.
Now, what does that do to you?
Wait a minute. I want to mention the Angela Bassett thing. What if Angela Bassett does something that narcissists don't do? Angela Bassett, because she's not a narcissist.
Why are we villainizing?
No. Okay. Angela Bassett shouts him out anytime she does. No, Gina, wait a minute. A narcissist wouldn't do that.
This isn't real, though.
No, I know.
Okay.
I'm asking this for the point of men. So my point is to him, all those things you went through.
Yeah.
If Courtney Vance was feeling that, I don't care how supportive he is. He's got some ego too. These are 2 healthy people we're talking about. But I'm trying to figure out what would happen do you see men dealing with not evil Angela, but.
I hate that we're using Angela.
Do you see men dealing with narcissist Angelas? And what does that look like? Because sometimes men and women are different types.
Yeah, I mean, let's look at J-Lo,
I wanted to hear what the answer is.
Okay, J-Lo would be perfect.
J-Lo's perfect.
J-Lo would probably be a better fit.
Yeah, she's better because
Matter
Angela's not a narcissist.
We don't even like talking bad about Angela.
We can't talk about Angela.
J-Lo's our narcissist for the rest of the show.
My heart. Fuck J-Lo.
J-Lo's the narcissist for the rest. If people out there, you refer to a narcissist woman as J-Lo.
J-Lo.
Go ahead. I just want to know what that looks like in a relationship.
Okay, so let me tell you this. Both J-Lo and Angela Bassett are Leo women.
Yes, they are.
Leos are known for what? Their leadership. Right?
Yes, they are.
How they show up and how they stand out. So what happens is most women who may have narcissistic traits will tend to be the Oprahs, right? The Gales, the Kamalas. You know what I'm saying? Women of a certain stature where leadership is where they're married to their leadership style, right? Mm-hmm. And what happens is leadership style more so you would think of as a man thing. But when you're a woman trying to be a leader, you have to take on some of the what? The symptomology, some of the traits of what men do to be leaders. But what happens is when a woman shows up as a leader, what do we do as a society? She's a B word when she's a leader. As compared to when a man is a leader, he's a visionary. Right? He's strong, he's confident, right? So what happens is, as a woman, I have to defend my leadership. I have to defend my personality. Because why I'm supposed to be meek and demure, right? And so if I take on narcissistic traits, right, then the husband, and this is the point I'm making, he has to be confident in himself to say, I'm not going to let that intimidate me because I know why she's that person.
Oh, he's giving you the boundaries how to deal with it.
Yeah. The boundaries.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, the boundaries. So now,
how do you recognize? Like, what would Angela Bassett not? I mean, would J-Lo not apologize if she burned dinner? What would she say to her husband? What would the husband say back? Like, what would A-Rod say if J-Lo said, "Hey, you burned up dinner"? What's she going? Did she apologize, or did she say, "Screw you and dinner"?
Well, I mean, J-Lo's perfect. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Khalid.
So what J-Lo does is she backtracks to her familiarity. That's why she has went back to the same men. She has been beguiling to these men. It's something about her that's like, oh my God, it's something about her I love being around, but I have to run from her after a while.
Right.
She gives them a break, and then she'll put the charm right back on them to bring them back to her. And then they break up again. Because then they have a remembrance of, oh my God, it's always about her. Everything we do has to be about a photo opportunity.
Right.
I just want to be a regular Joe. So like when she was married to the actor, you could tell that he just wanted to have a simple life.
He wanted a simple life, and she wanted to be pow.
And he seems like a really nice dude. I mean, he could be
he is
a man. Outside of being a man, he's a nice dude.
He married her, so I don't know.
Right. But remember when he was married to Jennifer Gardner, she was a simplistic woman, right?
Yeah.
But that wasn't good enough because he had already got the charm sucked out of him through J-Lo.
Let's also remember, he's a white boy from Boston.
Y'all not answering my question.
What is that?
Only because he said his two of the top three were empathy and his apologies. So I'm saying, let's say J-Lo, for whatever he had, lost her cool and said, bye, 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 and snapped off on him. And he's like, dang, you sort of hurt my feelings. What would her response look like? Because that's more like real life.
Okay, her response is, babe, don't you understand you brought that out of me?
So gaslight.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Why am I not good enough for you? The world loves me, but God, you're the last one who. Why can't you treat me like a fan does?
So something's wrong with you because you don't love me.
Can you imagine that?
Is that the thought?
Your mother's an asshole. What? You just call... Well, babe.
Call my mama.
Well, you know your mother does this. No.
Your mother treats me badly. She rolls her eyes at me.
That right there.
To me.
I can see me getting along with that for a while, but after a while, you're like, hold on.
Okay, so so with our remaining time, we have 13 minutes left. Let me just ask this question because I think it's important especially for the demographic of this audience. And you two, you Khalid, you Kris, are both raising phenomenal kids, right?
Shout out to black men.
That's right.
Hey, wait.
So
let him tell the world. I want him to share that
would
news too.
Because we can talk about. We can talk about that in a minute. I'm just let me. Hey,
don't have it every day.
Can you just let me? Okay, you can talk about this. All right. My question is, how do you avoid? Look, what do you see in a child that you might be raising? Because you do child work. That could be developing narcissistic tendencies or full-blown narcissistic disorder. What is the inception of that disorder, and how do you course correct it if you're raising a kid?
Damn, that was a good question.
Yes, that's a wonderful question, Gina. So remember I talked about the only child or the first child or the baby?
Yep, and I'm an only child. So.
Right. So what happens is, and I have an only child. So what happens is you have to give them the 50-50. You have to teach them emotional intelligence at a young age, right? Mm-hmm. So let me use my daughter as an example. My daughter has always been told that she's beautiful. She's always been told that she is smart, right? And she's the only child, right? So what happened was, it was like, okay, Anaya, but I need you to show up and treat people wonderful. So what happens was, at every birthday party, at every award ceremony, Anaya would have to write thank you cards.
Good.
Right?
That's awesome.
Also, my mom lives on 76th and Essex. So even though we live in a big, pretty house in the suburbs, every weekend or in the summertime, she would go in the hood with her grandmama with a Jerry curl.
Good.
Right?
You need a grandma
And
like that.
But you, that's,
Hey,
you
because
need to connect.
that lets the child, hey, you ain't doing that. You know, grandma's going to give you the business.
That's right.
Correct. So you teach them about balance. When I see kids who are acting out of order, they only been fed, you are Denise Huxtable, you are Theo Huxtable, you can do no wrong. And then it's like, well, you're blaming me for smoking weed in your house?
Right.
Why wouldn't I?
Like what? So, but what would be the telltale? Now, your daughter's, exceptional, and we can talk about her in a second. But
get some of those people because they got some good
we got some good comments. Okay, so one Chancey Brewer says
Shout out
temper
to
tantrums
Chancey.
after being way too old. We can get into this in a second, but let me just so if can that be course corrected? If you see that, like, what is the hope for someone who is exhibiting narcissistic tendencies or full-blown narcissistic disorder? There's got to be a hope for these people.
As a child?
Or, as a child. Like, where do we, because it sounds like when they're adults, it's a little too late.
What? If it's adults, they have to want it.
They have to want it.
Like an alcoholic, like a drug addict.
They don't know to want it. They don't seem to know to want it.
I think it's like...
And they come to him when it's a byproduct of something different and someone's forcing them. So when they're children, that means they're under your control. So now what are you looking for? And what do you do?
Right. So if you see that your child is acting spoiled, right? So then you do activities like you go on Thanksgiving and you make them work a soup kitchen.
Okay.
Right?
Give them some charitable.
Correct. For Christmas, you only get one present. For when you show up and show out, I punish you and I don't let you off the punishment until I said so. If it was a week-long punishment, you're going to be on punishment for 7 days. And what happens is it's very important for the parent to acknowledge, I have spoiled my child. Because I have some unresolved issues and I overcompensated for this kid, then man, let me recognize that I'm not doing them a favor because I don't want to deal with a knucklehead 16-year-old who I'm going to have to do more work because I didn't fix them when they were 6 years old.
Right, exactly.
Dr. Colley, I want to shout out my big brother because I honestly think, now the chief said that, I would have been a full-blown narcissist if it wasn't for all those ass whoopings from my brother. I'm serious. That's some humbling shit.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if that helped.
It probably, I think familial relationships, I'm an only child. My mother was the youngest of 11. Yeah. My dad's oldest of 8. My mother, on Sundays, I had to call all of my aunts to say hello. And it was my responsibility to have relationships with them, right?
Yeah.
So I had to figure that out. And some of them were not easy women to have relationships, but that was so as a result, I now gravitate to older women, and I respect. But it was.
You said your mom put some discipline on you.
Oh,
too.
my mother, she put the English on the
my
ball.
My brother acted just like, he's not a therapist, just like Khalid Scott. He'll get down on you.
Yeah.
But it was the same guy who showed me love and would fight people for me. So I listened.
But it was calling people to be truly grateful. It was all the exhibits of gratefulness. But so you're both raising girls. Now you say that a lot of these narcissists are men. These little badass boys. Like if you're a single mom, what are you doing with these little boys?
Oh, they're turning them into I'll let him.
What can they do though? What can they do? They turn them into
sonsmans, but I'll let the pro.
But then what can they do?
I'll let the pro. Well, the hard one's the one that put you on discipline and make you go through some drama. Like old school mothers, they turn out to be hugely successful. Right, these new mamas, they smoking weed with them. My friends from single mothers are all successful.
Okay, but that isn't always the case. So
today is different.
Khalid, tell us, what if you are a single mother of a little boy that is turning out to be, a badass little narcissistic kid that no one's going to want to marry him. He's going to be on your couch forever if you're not careful. What do you do?
Send him to the drunk uncle.
So being in private practice, when I get a call from a mom and she's calling me about her 16-year-old acting up, I said, Mom, one of the first questions I say is, Mom, what did you do wrong? Excuse me, Dr. Scott? What do you mean what I did wrong? Tell me this, if you were 16 years old in front of your 16-year-old son, would you date him?
The answer is invariably no. Okay.
Why? If you wouldn't date your 16-year-old son, if you were 16, then you got to go back to scratch.
Right.
Because what you're telling me is you have now set the young ladies up out here for disappointment and despair and depression. So now, what can you do, Mom, to make him do a 180, right? One of the things you're doing, you're putting him into therapy. Mm-hmm. You're also going into therapy because you're finding out, why did you make him the center of your earth? Was it because you were single and he was your little man? Right. And so that's not his fault.
Wait a minute. Why everybody's family got a man?
Man. Right. But it's the truth, though.
We got a man.
Because you can't let your situation dictate how you raise your kids.
Right.
That is not the right way to do things.
Correct. But we all do. I didn't have a daddy growing up, so I was super daddy to Anaya. Right. Because remember, all of us we want those voids filled, no matter what. Right. No matter what. Some of us do it the healthy way. A whole lot of us do it the unhealthy way, right? And even with narcissists, remember, they're coming from a deficit base. Mm-hmm. And they're saying, I have to overcompensate because you did not give me what I need. So I'm giving it to myself, but they forgot to turn off the faucet.
They don't want to feel hurt.
Okay, so you just said something very interesting. So do you believe that is the inception of narcissism?
What?
Yes.
What he just said?
For the most part.
Okay, so someone did not give them what they need.
Oh, hell yeah.
So they need to know, this is very important, because we need to know where the inception lies so that we can cure it, right? So that's the inception.
Correct. So if we use the person that we always think, so I'm assuming his parents were millionaires, right? So all the needs got met, but daddy probably didn't show up to none of the football games.
Right.
Okay.
Because daddy was a millionaire. He had a corporation to fill. And then mama was the wife of this millionaire. So was my mom attentive? Was she nurturing? If mom wasn't nurturing and daddy wasn't participatory, what was my choice?
I'm playing with dolls in my room.
About me.
Yep, I'm playing with dolls. Like I'm shielding myself now from my hurt. So when I get old, I can't get hurt.
So what you're saying, though, so you've answered my question in a roundabout way. So what you're saying, though, is that parents should then pour into their children so that they don't need to overcompensate later with narcissism.
Right, but they have to do it with emotional intelligence where I'm giving you 50% of this and 50% of that.
There you go.
It has to be a good balance. You can't give them the 80-20 because then it's imbalanced.
And by 80-20, you mean 80 what, 20 what?
So 80% of you're everything. 20%, you get on my nerves, you're bad, you're ungrateful.
You got to discipline them. That's why old school mamas, I'm telling you.
I think that there's ways to discipline without, you're an asshole, little kid. Like, well, look, there's ways to do. Anyway,
you can whoop their ass. Then they have another problem, but they won't be narcissists.
I'm not the LCSW, so I shouldn't speak on this. So,
well, studies show that when you have good lines of communication with your kid, you will never have to raise your hand because they will be so focused on not disappointing you and not letting you down, right? That they won't do anything to make you have to go and pick up the belt. But it's because you establish a rapport with them that they know you're not my friend. You're my friendly parent who loves, cares for me, wants the best for me, and you want me to show up the right way.
Okay, fair.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So you all said some stuff that I hadn't thought about, and you dwelling on that childhood is bringing me to this. Maybe that's why that article, I understand this in boys, especially with the boys have always been coddled, in my opinion, even this one. Unfortunately, I had a dad who would put the stomp down on a brother. But with our girls now, similar to you, Brother Khaled, I want them to be respectful. So I might have did it a different way, but I wanted to make sure they always says please and thank you and things like that. But in modern day society, you mentioned our very successful top tier women. a lot of these women grew up in an era that we didn't. It's black girl magic, so you're super special, right?
Right.
And that's a good thing. You're building confidence because I think that's sorely needed in our community. I do the same thing. But if you're only magic, even when you do bad, that's not a good thing.
Right.
And if you're bad behavior, you get caught having sex, you're having babies, and we just say, you know what, just have an abortion, pretend it didn't happen. I'm not, this is no indictment against abortion, okay? I'm pro-choice. But again, I'm not making you accountable for anything.
Right.
And maybe your dad isn't around, right? So I got to pick you up. I got to make you look good. I'm wondering how much do we, society, also play a role in it? That's all I'm saying, because it's a reason. Women, traditionally, you never saw this because they always had to struggle, right?
Yeah.
I have 3 daughters. I'm glad they don't, but I want them to be grounded as well.
Of course.
So I'm wondering, has that society contributed to this at all?
Absolutely, it has.
Well, I don't know how. I guess if every individual has to help, and I don't know the solution.
But I think that you have to kind of instill it in the home early, so that your kids kind of don't, like, before they get out in society and get impacted by others, right? Which they do soon enough. Khalid, what are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so what happens with girls tend to be what? Emotional based, right? So it's always coming from what I feel. Yeah. As compared to boys go into what? The logic. Right? So when you're a feeler, you're more optimistic, right? So if somebody tells a boy A comes before B all the time, he's like, you're right. B will never come before A. But a feeling woman or a feeler would say, well, if you say the alphabet backwards, B will come before A.
Oh, that's what.
Right?
That's the problem we got.
Let me ask you a question. Okay, so is that an inherent trait in males, or can that be impacted by who they're raised by?
Both. So what happens is we all are emotional creatures, but what gets fed? Boys don't get fed to be more emotional. They get talked about when they're emotional, right?
Right.
Girls are told to be logical, you know what I'm saying? But it's not what's taught. It's not, or it comes up, be more logical because you're getting on my nerves being emotional. So what we're being taught is be the opposite of what typically comes normal. And when you try to make somebody be the opposite of what's supposed to be normal, then that's when the fight, the rebel shows up. Right. Right? So go ahead. So what happens is we have to learn how to meet people and be authentic. So if you have a son who's emotional, it's okay. He can still be the most masculine man, but that means he has emotional intelligence where he will treat the women and is like, well, he will be a great friend to his buddies.
Thanks.
That's fair. That's fair. No,
but all right. What you said, natural. Watch a group of little boys that play. It's gonna be, they gotta win. If he got the best arm, he gonna be the quarterback, the fastest. It's no argument. Girls they don't do stuff like that. They'll play hopscotch, jump rope. I don't even know if you can win at that type of stuff. I don't know. It's more community based. Yep. Men establish hierarchy real quick. So, in that essence, part of that, he said natural. I just see that in little people.
Okay.
Right.
Kris the critic.
And then, go ahead. And then, guys, let me bring this up. We got to add race. So I'm not a football fan because I don't like how football treats black men and black athletes. I got proof of my disdain from this past weekend about how Deion Sanders' sons were treated as compared to white dads who are former football players and how they lead their son. Right. Because remember, we want black males to be robotic.
That's true.
We don't want them to have a strong daddy who says, let me help lead them, let me role model them. But when a white dad who's a former football player does it, he's phenomenal. When Deion did it, he's arrogant. Right. Right?
No, that's fair.
And so you got to add race sometimes with these
race
analogies.
Is important. Race is important. You know what though? Yeah. We are over time.
Wow.
But I know this went really quickly, didn't it? It went so fast. We would love to have you back, and we thank you so much. But like, if you have one piece of advice, one piece to give to a person
in a relationship
who is in a relationship,
either the abuser or maybe somebody who notices something.
Someone who's
I want him to close it out.
Narcissists don't realize that they have.
I think some of them do.
I don't know. All right. So, but here's how we're gonna frame this. If you're in a relationship with a narcissist, and you kind of suspect that's what you're doing, that's what you're in, what is your advice? Run or?
The first advice, if you listen to this podcast and you really say, wait a minute, my husband, my boyfriend has, hell, out of the 9, he has 8 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Convince him, because he wants to show up good and grandiose, right? Convince him to do therapy. And how you convince a narcissist to do therapy, it can only make you better.
Right.
It can only make you better.
Right? It's actually true, though.
And what kind of therapist should they seek? And how do people get in touch with you? Should they want to?
Him.
Yeah.
Got you. So what happens is they need to see a therapist who does a lot of like what I do, cognitive behavior therapy.
Okay.
Because how you think is how you act.
Okay.
Right? And that's what I do with my clients. Thinking and acting are together. They're married. Mm-hmm. So if you think negative, you're going to act negative. If you think positive, you're going to act positive, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So when I'm telling Kris, watch your presentation. And when he says, you're right, Khalid, let me repeat this. And then he has a positive response. How you think, how you act will get you all your needs met, right? And Kris doesn't do anything like that. I'm just using him as an example. Right.
Well, I fuck up all the time, but then I feel bad about it afterwards. I'm too up here. I screw up all the time. I ain't got a problem saying.
But what happens is the person who calls me, right, they have to know that, hey, Doc, my husband is a narcissist. Diagnose him if you don't believe me. But what happened is it's intruding on our marriage because I'm worn out. What I'm going to say is, what's your tolerance level? Because he will not lose all of the narcissistic traits. He has to hold on to them because now that's who he is. How much can you endure? What's your middle ground? What's your compromise? That's your homework.
Okay.
You are at the end, at the end, because you're not going to change this person. They may modify a little bit, but you're not going to get a different person showing up.
What I always say is, when you dance with the devil, you don't change the devil. The devil changes you.
Brother Khalid, can you look at something? We're going to close out, people. We got to give. I want to thank you again for coming on.
Thank you so much.
I want to shout out some of the people. I want to know, Brother Khalid, could you at some point play me and Gina and go look at some of the comments?
Yeah.
And probably, a lot of people said a lot of good things about you. I want you to see those. Shout out to Chicken Shyhawk, Sectonius Watson, Chancey Brewer, Khalid Hankins, Regina, I see you.
Sectonius.
I see a lot of people who chimed in. They really participated. My cousin Chuck, love you. A lot of folks.
A lot of people.
Diana, I just want to make sure that we address those because a lot of people do watch our show even after it airs. Yes, and this one, I am sure,
and you know
it's going to index real high. So I want to thank you. Anytime you want to come back, that's all I got.
Yeah, and you know what? Do us a favor and leave a link.
Oh yeah, there you go.
For where people can reach you.
You got to get.
So my hope is that you get people that sort of recognize maybe this in themselves or others or whatever. But either way, my hope always when guests come on this show is that our audience can kind of energize and get behind our guests.
This was awesome.
So yeah, we appreciate you, Khalid.
Thank you, brother. As always, I'll probably call you. And I want to tell everybody I'm gonna have something at the house with just some of the fellas.
Okay.
I'll let you know about it.
And I'm gonna have something to the restaurant, which everybody can go to. Come to my Wax Vinyl Bar if you haven't already.
Oh yeah, give yourself a shot. DJ.
Kept it moving, ain't